welcome back. So as promised, I'm getting a makeover this morning. So we're at the river on a little vacation for Lindsay's 20th birthday, and the guest will be arriving about 10 o'clock. So she is going to help me with my makeup this morning. Right now she's spreading everything out. So here's the deal. I have already kind of prepped my skin a little bit. I didn't bring all my stuff, to be honest. We're only going to be down here for 2 nights. But I did bring all my makeup. We'll see what she comes up with. Here we go.
So first I'm going to take your primer. And then I'm going to take the beauty blender and go over it.
That's a tip. I don't do that.
I just started doing it and I noticed a difference.
So what do you think? It helps put it into the skin more?
I do.
Okay.
It may not. Maybe
That's a
it's
good
just in my
tip.
head, but I've been doing it recently and my skin's been better about staying matte for longer.
So that's my first tip, guys.
So then next I'm going to take your foundation.
Alright, so she's doing this way different than me. If y'all remember in my video, I would dab all kinds of dots all over my face, and she has put it on the back of her hand. So tip number 2, we'll see. She's putting it right on the beauty blender and then into my skin. Interesting.
I feel like this way you get more coverage out of it though.
I need
I
full.
would start out with a little though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I know I need full coverage. I'm just at that age, I guess, and also, I don't know. I just need full coverage. I feel better about myself with full coverage, I guess. I will say already that I really like this technique. I'm gonna have to do this myself because I think sometimes when I do the circles, I feel like I have a hard time sometimes blending it in and making sure it's even. And this way I feel like I can already feel a difference in the even coverage.
Your nose is a lot like mine. You have these creases right here that are hard to get.
Yeah. And I feel like my pores are bigger in my nose on the sides. Like I have big pores on the side of my nose.
So then we have concealer.
So just a note, I don't typically do concealer. This is a sample that we got in when I ordered my new makeup from Ilia. So I've been trying to decide if I want to go back to that. I tried it for a little while and didn't really tell a difference, but this is a different brand. I was using a different brand at that time, so we'll see. We'll see how she does it. Now, I was putting it on under my makeup, so she's going to do things maybe in a little different order, which might be more helpful. So where should I conceal?
Always go under the eye.
So tell me why we do it on top of the makeup.
You can do it under. There's no like you have to do it this way. I like to do it this way because it brightens. You usually get a concealer that's lighter than your foundation.
Oh, interesting.
And you brighten your under eye. And then if you needed like a lot of coverage, you would take the concealer that's the same color as your foundation and put it underneath if you want extra coverage on things. And then see, this one's very similar to the color of your foundation, so
if I
I'll have to take a powder and brighten it up.
Gotcha. So if I was to order a concealer, I would try to go a shade lighter?
Yes.
Okay. Because just letting you guys know, there's just a few samples, and they probably tried to match samples that kind of went with the makeup color that I ordered. So there's not as many choices as what they actually have on the sample.
I think what I'm going to try with you too is maybe some cream contour.
Cool. Never done that before. So I have just started myself doing like a bronzer and that kind of stuff. I've never had a lot of experience with that. So I'm excited to see how she does it. So that just gives a little extra base of the powder to help with creasing, right? Okay.
So now
Makes sense.
I'm going to take this little shade. Hopefully it's not. I'm going to contour a bit there.
Now that's just kind of right below my cheekbone, I feel like. Is that where you're?
I go based on the top of the ear. So wherever it lies with the top of the ear is where you're supposed to contour.
So that's so much easier for me. So I always struggle with how to do blush and contour and bronzer. So she's telling me to put it from the top of the ear. Interesting. that's a much easier anatomical reference than me trying to figure out exactly where my cheekbone and all that is. So I'm just gonna say that sometimes liquid or cream products terrify me a little, because I feel like if I get too much, I've messed everything up and you have to like start all over. And like she just liberally put this on me without any fear.
I cream contour though. I'm not necessarily scared of cream products. A lot of people are because of that.
Of getting too much.
Yeah. But really it's easier to cover up a cream than it is a powder.
Oh,
a powder, it's hard to take that back. But with a cream, you can put more of your foundation on.
Gotcha.
And stuff like that.
Interesting.
So to me, cream isn't as scary just for that fact. So now I'm going to set your base. And I usually like to stipple too.
I was gonna say that feels a little different. Now I try to do that. I do try to dab. I call it dabbing. Stippling probably is a much better descriptive.
So this tip is a little strange. I like to go around and feel my face.
Okay. What are you feeling for?
If it's sticky, I put more powder right there where it's sticky at.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then I know that I've gotten powder everywhere.
And that way later I don't end up shiny in a particular spot because I missed it. Makes sense. Like it.
And I hate to transfer makeup on people's clothes. I always do that until I started doing that.
Oh, so like for church, if you were hugging somebody, which we're not doing a lot of hugging these days, I know, but.
Alright, so next.
Okay, so already it's way different with you putting it right there. Interesting.
That's one thing I like about cream contouring first, is then you see where you need to put your other products. Bronzer, I apply more crazily, I guess, than like blushing such. See, now that our face is set, we can do different motions with our brush and not stress about it. Moving our makeup around.
So that's something way different than what I normally do.
I usually bronze my whole nose. I don't ever really contour, I guess. And then I'm going to step out and grab my contour palette here in a minute. So we can get definition back. Alright, let's see. I guess let's move to eyebrows. Trying to do hair-like strokes.
I struggle with the eyebrows, people.
I'm not the greatest at eyebrows, to be quite honest. It's dark. I'm gonna fix it. Don't worry.
Well, I was just going to say, so in the last, I would say 4 to 5 years, as I've gotten a little older, I have lost a lot of my eyebrow. About half is real thin. So I really struggle a little bit with the eyebrow thing.
Because to me, that's a little too much.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
I like what you do, though, where it's not thick and drawn on, but people are telling you to fill it in more. But I don't personally think that you have to fill it in more. What you've been doing. Because I know if you're not careful, they don't look natural. Now the thing will be getting them to match because they're different. My eyebrows are different on both sides
mine are too, yeah. So I will say that even though I don't have much eyebrow, I still think it's important to keep them waxed and
Okay, and
whatever.
even though there's not a lot of hairs, I'm gonna go in with this spoolie to see if we can make him look a little more natural. Then we'll go over it with the beauty blender. See, this is how I would draw on eyebrows, because that resembles my eyebrow shape.
Okay.
But you may not end up liking it, which is cool. Not everybody has to like everything. But I'm not the wizard at eyebrows. So
I definitely don't do this. So you're going back over it with a beauty blender just to
Yeah.
kind of tone it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just kind of, since there's still some foundation product on this brush, it's toning down the color.
Gotcha.
And I'm only dabbing on top. I'm not rubbing or moving anything. I'm just pressing on top of them.
Okay.
So that way it tones down the color. To me, that looks better.
Okay, yeah.
You may
Cool.
not end up liking the shape.
I'm gonna love it.
Let's see. So now let's do eye primer. That's sticky.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I will say that I had a lot of trouble with this at first. I think I talked about this last time, and I watched some tips about this particular product, and I learned that I should set it just
Yeah,
like
I
you
told
do.
you that too.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
You may have been the one that told me then. But anyway, I started doing that, and it made a world of difference, and because I wasn't finding that it did any good.
So I'm going to take, if it would focus, there we go, this white shade here.
So you're actually going to set with the eyeshadow instead of because I've been putting my powder on it.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Okay, so I could do either.
I just like to set with whatever eyeshadow I'm going to use.
Okay.
So that way the powder that's on top is working well with the other eyeshadows I'm using.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because it'll be the same formulated powder. And I think I'm going to take this shade here and then go in with some of these purpley shades as well. Deepen up just the outer corner. So if you've ever seen makeup where it looks like they've done a V on the very outer corner,
Mm-hmm.
I just take an angled brush and stamp it at an angle like this way, and then on the bottom this way, and then it gives you that
Gotcha.
effect. Do you ever go underneath with your eyeshadow?
I've tried it one time.
So I'm just going to take those same colors.
Again, this would terrify me to do. Like, I'm always afraid I'll mess up. But she's just going at it. I think I have to stop being afraid I'm going to mess up in order to step out of my comfort zone to try these new things.
And I'm not going to take the dark shade all the way across either.
So like a quarter of the way, or what do you think?
Just on the very outer edge.
Just the very outer edge, okay.
Yeah. And then we're going to connect it to the top one, and it's going to look like you have a little wing.
Ooh, I love the wings, and I've never had any luck with that, so.
And then, see, don't be afraid to do this, because if you mess up, all we have to do is go back in with some powder and clean it up. So like, it doesn't look that perfect right now, but we'll fix it and it will look really good.
So that's what always scares me. When I put it on there and it doesn't, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've messed it up. I'm scared of how to fix it. So I'm anxious to see what she does to Take that fear away from me.
So what I do is I just take the powder, and where I want to clean up, I just go like this.
So that's the setting powder, right? The blur.
Yeah,
Powder.
whatever powder you use. If you have a pressed powder, that'll work too.
That's a great tip. Would have never thought ever to have done that. So since they're both powder products, they kind of attract to each other, I guess. Makes sense. So that when you do the brush, you kind of brush off the excess or whatever you didn't want. Cool.
And then since that one has coverage, it covers as well.
Gotcha.
Let's do copper.
So I normally just like put it right in the corner, but I feel like you're up on the eye a little bit, like up this way. I usually go down. Oh, you're actually going over onto the eye a little bit. Interesting. Never have done that.
Even when you do a look like this, you've never taken that color onto the middle of your lid?
I have not. I always, when I just highlight, I'll take my finger into the highlight color and just put it kind of right on the inner corner, I guess, or inner area.
Now it's not perfect yet. It does look a little crazy. I have to clean it up a little bit. I'm not used to a brush like this. My brush is like literally this tiny for my highlight.
Gotcha, okay.
So I did get a little crazy with it. But just like we did the other, we can come back in with this brush and clean it up. Maybe even tone down that coppery right there in the inner corner. I just think the copper looks really good on the lid.
Plus it's fall. That's a great fall color.
So then now I like to usually do some kind of matte highlight under my eyebrow. So what I'll do is I'll take this.
Now is that the lightest shade I've got?
Yeah.
I like the way that looks. And I normally try to do that to some degree. I don't go necessarily all the way across though, so that's good to know. Like right under my eyebrow, I can feel it. Okay.
Yep, that's what I usually do for me. And then what I'll do is go back and use this for eyeshadow.
Yeah.
And I'll just buff out the edges a little bit right there.
With a clean brush.
So it doesn't look crazy.
Okay.
That's a good tip. If you have a black eyeshadow, you can totally take the tiniest, they call them liner brushes, but I use them, you can use them for eyeshadows too, and just go along with some black eyeshadow, and then you don't have the fear of an actual eyeliner.
Especially because a lot of the clean, we talked about this in the last video, a lot of the clean eyeliners are liquid, and I'm terrified of liquid. I have been using it now for several months, and I've just repurchased the Ilia, so I used all that up, so I've been using it quite a while. But I'm going to tell y'all, it still terrifies me. And this new one seems like it's a little different. And I feel like it puts a lot more eyeliner out there. And so anyway, the liquid eyeliner is terrifying in my world. I grew up with a pencil and a pencil sharpener. So it scares me. So the casserole's in and we're resuming.
Alright, so I think next I'm going to contour.
Okay.
Because of the shape of your face, if I brought it all the way down, it would just look a little weird. So now I'm going to take this and blend it. Then contour action. And I think I'm going to put some, or to frame your face a little bit up here too.
Now usually that's the only place I ever do anything is right up there, so on my forehead part. So, but you've done multiple steps up there.
Well, your bronzer isn't very dark, so it didn't really
Yeah, that's true. I have noticed that too.
have the same effect. And I think
What do you think about the stick bronzers? I've been noticing a lot about that. Like they come in a, like it looks like a little bit bigger than like a lipstick. It's a little fatter. So I didn't have any blush, so she's having to go with what we got. Now, it's really peachy looking, so well, my one is though. It's a little darker, but.
I have another option too if this one. Because you like more blush than me. I don't do a lot of blush.
I say you do what you think I need. Now, I will tell you, I'm a girl from the times when you went, you did the cheeks. Your apple, they call it, the apples of your cheeks. That's how I learned to do blush back in the day. It's time to update, people.
I always take my highlighter on a brush and do like almost a boomerang shape.
And you kind of went, I could feel you come from the edge of the eyebrow and then just across the edge of the
like a boomerang
cheekbone. Okay.
And I always like to highlight Cupid's bow. And that's it. And then...
So once you do that, you don't go back with a brush.
Right.
Okay.
Unless you feel like it needs to be blended.
Okay.
I feel like you look so weird because you don't have mascara on.
So I'm about to not look weird anymore because you're going to put the mascara on.
Well, I kept looking and I'm like, you look so strange, but it's because you have all this dramatic makeup and no mascara. Okay, so this is the final look that I've created. It's a little hard to see in this light, so we will take you to a better place and get a close-up.
Okay. Okay guys, so this is my finished look. I love the eyebrows, which I really struggle with. I'm so excited that you guys joined us today, and I want you to check out Lindsay's YouTube channels. Right now she's doing like reading vlogs and book reviews and things like that, but I think she should also add some makeup in there. So definitely to come on one of our channels, we're going to do some Pinterest looks because I have a ton of eyeshadow looks that I've been unable to recreate myself, and I'm going to get her to help me do them. So we're going to film some stuff like that coming up soon. Be sure to like this video and subscribe below. You guys have a wonderful weekend.